I've always had fond memories of Pokemon Red, Blue, and even Yellow. And I think a lot of that has to do with I was old enough to remember a time before Pokemon and being very excited and interested about this new game from Japan. All of the commercials, Nintendo Power articles, and just hype around it. And then experiencing firsthand the Pokemon culture and just how we were inundated with Pokemon in every part of our lives. And then just the fond memories of playing with my friends and battling with them. So when my son started playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, I was interested because what I would see from the game, it was incredibly similar to Red and Blue, but I wasn't interested enough to play it myself. But that changed when my son made a comment that this is just like my Pokemon games. If you remember, my son is playing his own copy of Pokemon Red. So with that, I decided to dive in and see if Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu is worth all the hype. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu starts off just like red, blue, green, or yellow, which for the rest of this video I'll be calling the original games. You're in Pallet Town, you're at your house, you gotta find Professor Oak, but there's slight differences, and maybe it was me being naive, maybe I didn't do my research before I played, but your rival, who would be typically Gary, was kind of sold more as a friend, and that confused me. I was wrong later on, but go with me for the beginning. So you meet up with your friend and you need to find Professor Oak, but very similar to Pokemon Yellow, he's not there, so you start walking north and then you get Pikachu, so on and so forth. And here we are now with Pikachu on my back. One thing that I just absolutely love about this game is it's exactly what I wanted when I was playing Red when it first came out, with some exceptions, because given limitations of the video game design back then, the original Pokemon series was great. I loved it. But at the same time, I would transition over from playing, my handheld games to playing something on a console and just wanting more, seeing how interactive and in-depth those games were at the time. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be fully immersed into the world of Pokemon. And here we are. And what's amazing about it is the maps, the layout is exactly like it would be in the original games. The buildings are in the same location. If a Pokemon Center is in one space in the original games, it's going to be in the same space over here. But it has modern graphics. It looks polished and, quite frankly, beautiful for a game. Now, it's not the most high-depth game out there, but the graphics are really good, and there's a really nice style about it that's comforting and familiar with still being new. If you played the original games for any period of time, it resonates with you. Now, this is one of the unique things in this. You don't battle. You see here, I got this Weedle, I just catch him. So the dynamic of the game is different, where I can only battle trainers. When it comes to wild Pokemon, you can only catch them, and you might not catch them, but you can only catch them. We're not battling. The interesting thing with this is you still get points, so you still level up by catching Pokemon. The difference is all of your Pokemon level up. So the ones that you carry with you, even though I just caught Weedle here and I didn't battle, all of my Pokemon got experience points for that. Different dynamic. It's something that you just have to get used to. And it kind of changes the mentality of the game. Because when I was playing my original series, I would want to battle everything because I wanted to level up. But there was a little bit of tactic in there because I would need to trade my Pokemon, who's my starter, right, to make sure that everybody levels up and I'm always prepared for that next battle. But we can battle trainers. So we will walk into this trainer battle right here, and it's what you'd expect. And it's really great. The mechanics of it are just spot on. The animation is fluid, and it just it feels like what it should be. I kind of wish that you can battle your wild encounters, but the trainer battles more than make up for the lack of it. Now, Viridian Forest is the exact same layout as the original series. Even items that you would find are in the same location. Now, they're different, but they're still in the same location. So it's really interesting to see how your muscle memory changes going from the original series to this one on the Switch. Now, this is an interesting dynamic here because we can use berries to coax the Pokemon to be catched. So you'll throw a berry out, they'll love you a little bit, and then you might be able to catch them better. So again, it's a different dynamic. It's new, but it's something that you can easily overcome. So we'll use another berry here. And the catching that we're doing is we're actually moving the controller. We're actually kind of like throwing the controller, not literally. Use the strap, right? But you're throwing the controller to give the action to throw the Pokeball. Threw me off a little bit. I'm still not really great at it, as you can tell, but you get the hang of it. There is finesse to throw in the Pokeball and get it right where it needs to be to catch the Pokemon. And as you see, everybody gets experience points. Great. Growing to level 7. So it's a little easier, I think, in some dynamics, especially when you're trying to build up your team and get those experience points and level up your Pokemon, because every Pokemon you catch, you get experience points for it. So it almost turns into a habit of catching every single Pokemon you encounter and going out of your way to catch them just to get those experience points. Because other than the limit of how many Pokeballs you have, which you can just go and buy more, I don't think we have any storage. Because if you remember in the original games, you had those boxes that your Pokemon would go to, and only so many can fit in a box, and you had so many boxes. I don't believe, somebody correct me here, but I don't believe we have that limitation. So it almost turns into catch every single Pokemon you have just to get more experience points. And right here, we'll get a Pokeball. Great, 5 more Pokeballs. So we'll be able to catch more. Now again, I'll remind you, when I first started playing this, I thought it was going to be a recreation of the original series. So my name was Ash, and this young gentleman here was Gary, your friend, or in my mind, a rival. However, his demeanor is more friendly. He wants to cheer us on, and he gave us something. That's not what you'd expect from your rival, Gary, in the original series. But I was wrong in this assumption, and that happens, right? I went into this game with very little expectations other than it being very similar to the games I grew up with, but I did no research. I didn't even read the box. I just started playing with it, so you'll see how wrong I am after I heal my Pokemon and go into my first gym battle. I will speed this up, but it's amazing how much muscle memory kicks in. I just immediately knew where Brock's gym was. And this is where my opinion of the game really changed in a positive way. Look at this. You're just walking into this stadium. We have spectators up there, this really great cutscene. And then when you walk in, you always have that guy in the beginning of the gym who asks you, just talk about, hey, you're not prepared for this, right? But you get a little quiz, and we're talking about types of Pokemon. So, yep, Brock's a rock leader. You want grass or water type Pokemon. And then he wants you to prove that you have one of these. Now, I didn't see what would happen if I didn't have a grass Pokemon. Would he kick me out? I don't know. But that's cool. You have that little quiz there. I think kind of reinforces the types of Pokemon and, where the weaknesses are and your disadvantages. Now, going into this, I'm using Pikachu, an electric type, so automatically a disadvantage, but because of how much stronger my Pikachu is, this should be pretty easy going into it. And again, Very similar fight dynamics like we saw in Viridian Forest, but it's in a gym battle. And the nice thing about it is you still have the background, and as the camera goes around, you see the audience in the background. There's rocks all over the place. It turns into a really visually appealing gym battle, and this is my turning point in the game, because up to this I thought, well, it's okay, it's a perfectly acceptable version of the originals. But no, I think it's more. It's not a substitute. I still think that there's merit for playing the originals, but this is just really, really beautiful to watch. It's a really polished game. So, not a surprise, pretty easy win, and we'll walk up and we'll do our second battle. And I want to get to a point where we get another level up and I can kind of show a little bit of teaching a new move, because I think it's a little more in-depth and a little more information for the players who may not have been exposed to a lot of Pokemon, or especially the original ones. So we'll go here, do our double kick, boom, boom. Pretty easy. All right, got a little tackle there. All right, and this will be the end. Look at that, done. Easy, easy day. So let's move on and go off to Brock. So here we go. So we're going to learn a new move. So forget the old one. And what's nice, you have this really nice menu here. So we'll pick the move we have. It gives you a description of it, and then you can either forget it or, return to the move selection screen. I just thought this was really neat. And I know my 7-year-old, who is just totally immersed in the world of Pokemon, just loves looking at these screens, reading all the moves, and puts a lot of effort into ensuring he's picking the right moves. All right, so there we go. We knocked that out. Let's go to the show, go up here to Brock, and we'll battle. Of course, he's going to pontificate a little bit, but pretty accurate Brock. I mean, he looks like Brock from the original games. Definitely has a lot of resemblance from the first Pokemon animated series, although over the decades now, Brock really hasn't changed too terribly much. So we'll go into this first official gym leader battle here. And it's just, when you've been playing this long, if you're mid to late 30s and you played Pokemon when it first came out, it's just really cool to be able to recreate this first gym battle and knowing, hey, I played this a long time ago, 96, 97, or 95. Oh, geez, a long time ago on my Game Boy. And now I get to do it in this very immersive environment on the Nintendo Switch. So, all right, so we pretty much, there you go. Easy win on Geodude there. No, we'll keep Pikachu. We got a good thing going here. And the scale is really great. I mean, Onix is obviously a lot bigger than Pikachu, maybe a little smaller than what Onix should really be. But having just the scale of, this very large Pokemon going against a small one, how the camera backs a little bit, it just adds to that immersive nature for it. I'm really interested on, as I play the game more, seeing larger and larger Pokemon and looking at the scale, like, it kind of makes you think, right? Like, how does Snorlax look in here, right? Or like, maybe like a small Magikarp or a Gyarados, right? Look at that size difference. All right, so there we go. Pretty uneventful. So the battle's over, but this is where the game really got interesting for me, right? So, yep, you beat him. All right, cool. We'll get the badge. We'll get a TM. Brock's going to say some things. But when my first playthrough, I was still on the fence. Like, yeah, I enjoyed the battle, I enjoyed the dynamics, but in my mind, it was just still a little different than the original games. And I was really hung up on the fact that Gary, your quote unquote friend, really wasn't your rival. And I didn't know if it was, oh man, is Pokemon getting soft? It was just different. So walking out, and this is where the light bulbs really came off. So as soon as you get out of the gym, this guy shows up. And in typical fashion, because there's question marks to the name, you know it's important. So he knows your name. Now, I named him Ash. Maybe I should have named him something else. But, hey, how'd you know that? And because he called him it's Blue. Because he called Professor Oaks his Gramps. And that's Blue. And if you remember, if you played Pokemon Red, one of your default names for your rival was Blue. So this is Gary. This is your actual rival. Not yours, but Ash's original. He's all grown up now and an expert and shit. And he's meeting you, this new kid. So then the light bulbs went off. Man, I'm not playing the Ash from my generation. I'm just playing a new kid who moved into Ash's house in Pallet Town, and now this is Gary or Blue. And then I'm thinking like, oh man, maybe I'm actually going to run into Ash, like real Ash from the original games. So this is where everything changed, and I was like, oh man, this is really good. I want to keep playing because I want to meet Gary again, and I want to meet the original Ash. Well, I'll spare you my theories, and in all honesty, I could actually just look up the rest of the game and answer these, and you can look them up too, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to spoil this for myself because I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's more than what I expected. I thought it was just going to be a modern remake of, Yellow, but it's not. It seems to be more than that. It's very true to the original games as far as the map's concerned, as far as the locations, but it's wrapped up in a really nice modern package with a little different twist, and I love it. I'm incredibly happy with it. I'm going to play it a lot. Maybe I'll do another video at the end of the game or, a couple weeks from now as I get into it. But I think this is something that I'm just going to play for enjoyment, and I absolutely recommend this game. Rarely do I give out game recommendations, especially for modern games. But if you grew up playing Pokemon, specifically Red, Blue, Yellow, or Green, if you're over in the Japanese market, you're going to enjoy this. You're going to have a lot of fun with this game. And if the nostalgia doesn't do it for you, hey, you get to pet Pikachu. What's better than that? Hey, if you like this, let me know in the comments below. I really don't do videos like this a lot. As always, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll catch you next time.